Rise and vibe. It's 2025, and we have got 2/3 of Cisterly in the manifestation house today. We have got Jenny and Aoife. Hello.
Hi.
You guys have been all over the place. I just keep seeing these swims pop up, and I'm like, I get invited to them because I'm great. Have a great connection with the cocoa brew, the coffee, because I'm addicted to coffee. And she keeps saying, will you come out to the swim? I'm like, first of all, I hate the cold, but I really want to go, but I just have too many kids.
That's an excuse now. Come on. That's no reason. Come on. Next time.
We actually have there's an area that we line up to before we go to the swim, and on certain occasions all the buggies are lined up, so that they don't roll into the sea. in front of this big bollard, you see all the buggies lined up. So a lot of people are kind of, and as one mum hops in, the other moms are keeping an eye on the kids. So it's really welcoming in terms of, because we've people at all different stages of their lives. So, and that's the brilliant thing about bringing all the women together. They all look after each other. It's fab.
Yeah, I love
no
that.
No excuses, Yvonne, sorry.
No excuses. So I think I came up with the tagline for Cisterly. And so let's just say I came across Cisterly fairly recently. And what had happened was one of you, can't remember who it was doing something on Instagram. And effectively it went like this. Do you have a load of products in your house? Me in my head, yes. Supplements in your house. Are they just gathering dust? Me, yes. Well, we have got Cisterly, which is all in one. And I was like, that's me. I need that. All the products, gathering dust, ugly containers in my pantry. And I was like, me. And then I was like, so I bought it. I said, I just buy one because I think supplements are about habits. And I needed to make sure before I joined a subscription that I was going to stick to the habit because I had never done it before, could never stick to it. But the reason was because there was too many.
There you go.
There was too many.
Yeah.
And you know what the other reason was? The jars are ugly. So you guys have gorgeous branding. So then I've started taking it. I love it. I'm not consistent at the time of day I take it, but I'm always consistent in taking it. So I'm one step there. But I think you've done a brilliant job on packaging because I can leave it on my counter.
Yeah, there we go.
So it was really, really funny. There was this phrase that we heard the other day called the supplement graveyard, which is that press that in everybody's kitchen where supplements go to die. And gather dust, just as you describe. I mean, it's this notion that everybody has that drawer in their house that they, with all the best will in the world, they're on a health kick. Somebody tells them a B complex is a great idea. They go into their health food shop, they buy it, they stick it on the counter, they do it for maybe a week. And then they're like, that's really cluttery and ugly. It goes into the press. And as soon as it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
And it doesn't work. If you don't take it, it doesn't work, which is surprising.
Yeah.
It doesn't work from in there. What's that about?
But it's funny. I had the exact same thing as you. Jenny was the same. Louise was the same. And it was like, this isn't working. And we knew all our friends were the same as well. There must be a better way to do
So
this.
my tagline for you guys is one and done. One and done. I need simple in my life. My life is already chaotic. 4 kids, corporate job, podcasting, business. I need quick. So, and I also like that it's powder format because I actually feel like I'm getting some water in.
Yeah, powder's key. Powder's absolutely key. I mean, for Louise and I in particular, found capsules and tablets really hard to digest. You know the way they kind of sit in your esophagus? That's rotten. And I hate that feeling. I'll do it when I'm sick, if I need to take something as a painkiller or something like that. I mean, I'm happy to take a capsule or a tablet. But every day,
And then with the powder as well, it actually gets absorbed quicker into the bloodstream. You're not, think about it, what's in a capsule. You have to break that down. That cover of that capsule, that's not serving any purpose in your body. That's just another material that needs to be broken down before you can actually absorb the nutrients. So powder is just much easier.
Yeah.
Do you know the other thing I've learned, right? So let's say you've got a machine making tablets and capsules. It's all a predetermined size. They're not making a teeny tiny one for the amount of zinc you need and then a bigger one for vitamin A or something like that. They are all kind of done to a size. So what they do is they fill it with binders and fillers to bring it up to the capsule size for the manufacturing process. So all of that unnecessary binders and fillers, which aren't serving any purpose, are going into your body also. And like, you don't want any of the excess or the stuff that you don't want. You just want the nutrients, you know? So it's just a much better way of doing it.
And then also, it's like, as you say, it's replacing your 8 capsules. So there's only so much you can get into a capsule. And the problem with a lot of the multivits you might see is that there's not enough of each. They have all the nutrients, right? But there's not enough of each one to actually make a difference. And that's key, and that's what we spend a lot of time looking at, you know, what's the right dosage. So instead of having your standard multivit with tiny bits of everything that don't really do anything for the body, you know, now we have a significant dose of each nutrient that actually makes a difference. And that's why people feel the difference, you know, because you're taking your magnesium that you tend to be deficient in, or your folate. And we've also used like the real natural forms of each ingredient. So they're more bioavailable, which means they work better because they're more natural. The body recognizes them. And just by fueling your body properly, you know, it's amazing what it can do.
And where did Cisterly start? Like, we've got a lawyer, investment banker, branding expert in LA, living her best life, I imagine, over there in the sunshine. Like, let's get a community event over there in Malibu Beach. Drop it in the
cards.
Okay, well, I want to go. I want to go.
We're going to send that invite very wide.
Yeah. My sister, I grew up in LA. My sister, so we moved to LA in 1986 during the tough times, my parents, and then there was a massive earthquake. We lived in Northridge, so we lived in the valley. And then we moved back in 1996 after a big earthquake in 94. But I was back and forth. So my sister still lives in the valley. She loves it. So yeah, it's a great.
Nice. Well, we had a call with Louise yesterday, and we were there like freezing, wrapped up in our scarves and hats, and she's there, appears with a blue sky, and she's in a little summery dress. Like, oh my, Louise, this is not fair. Okay, enough. Turn that screen off.
Do you still practice law, or?
No, I left the bar in July of 23, because this was kind of going gangbusters at that stage, and we kind of knew that it was going to need all kind of shoulders to the wheel to keep it going. And it was a big decision because I'd taken Silk and become senior counsel the year before, and that was kind of like a start of another great phase at the bar. Like, you know, it's a great career. I loved it. I had great friends there, and I really enjoyed the work. But yeah, you know, no regrets. I think it's funny, I'm not sitting on a yoga mat like zenned out like I thought I might be at this point in time. I was like, I'm going to evolve into my best self now in the world of wellness. But it's very meaningful.
I think that's the thing. Like, I'm a corporate lawyer. I had mentioned to you I was in a law firm doing M&A. You're like, oh, holy mother of God,
I know what that looks
M&A.
like.
You know what that looks like. But there's so many skill set transfers, like the ability to speak to people, to connect, to network, which is what it's all about.
You know, my favorite one, actually, that is a transferable skill that I hadn't appreciated, and we've talked about this before, when it came to identifying our experts that we were going to work with. So we don't have a white coat between us or any of the proper appropriate qualifications, but yet we are very conscious of qualifications as being super important. And we went out to speak to people about the team we were going to put together to work on this. And I'd say it was a nightmare for them because I'm like going, that's a very interesting proposition. Now, can you show me the paper where I might find that? No, that's not quite what that says. The footnotes, please. So, like, that skill, because that's what we've been trained to do for 20 years.
It's attention to detail and question everything.
And look for the source. You know, because not all experts are made equally. Like, we ended up with the most amazing panel between Dr. Daniel Jones, Dr. Mandy Leonhardt, Adrian Byrne, Susie Perry. Like, they are top drawer, you know, decades of experience between them. And just being able to ask hard questions, you know, just to make sure that you really are getting the correct response back so that you can feel really confident that these people really know what they're talking about. That was key for us, because I don't think we could actually even go out and advocate or promote this if we didn't feel rock solid that they all checked each other's homework, they came to a consensus view, they really explained why every nutrient was in there at what particular dose and what it was meant to do and why the synergies all work and why it was female specific. That, I think, is a transferable skill that comes from your background in another area. It's handy.
I remember when I was in a board meeting, so I'm in a public company, and I always ask the, people that are like mentors ahead of me. So I asked the chairman, I was like, what advice do you have for me? And he said, you don't always have to be the lawyer, Yvonne. And it's always stood with me.
Yeah.
Your skills can be so transferable. But Cisterly, where did it start? When did it start? How did the three of you come together? And when was the decision like, let's go, let's do this?
Well, it was a few years ago. And it was really through a recognition, what we were discussing, that talking about supplements, and how do we support our bodies. We're all in our mid-40s and just sharing our experiences really about keeping healthy and busy lives and kids and everything. And we just said, look, God, it is really hard to stay healthy. And we know, we're all into our sports and our fitness and we eat well, but no matter what, you don't get all the nutrients that you need. Mm-hmm. So there must be an easier way. We have all these women, working hard, careers, kids, aging parents. There's just so much going on. And it's really hard to find the time just to look after ourselves. And with supplements, it's just you don't have the time, right, to figure out what exactly you need. You need to actually, even to read the back of a box, or a bottle and decipher what's in there and is it enough and is it good. You need that scientific degree. It's all written in Latin. No one has time to figure it out. So there must be an easier way just to make a really simple, good product for women that's easy to take. And as you say, it's like one and done. And then they can get on with their busy lives knowing that they're keeping healthy and they're fully nourished.
We have to take it.
I know, but I think as well, probably at the moment, I was suffering from an awful lot of kind of chest infections, needing to go to the doctor constantly for antibiotics and steroid inhalers. And at a certain point in time, that's just a really bad way to manage your health. So looking to natural solutions, like looking to nutrition and solving the problem of consistency is really what we were trying to do, because all the studies are there as to what vitamin D will do for you, what vitamin C will do for you, what magnesium will do for you. The problem is consistency. And the problem is deciphering the good, the bad from the ugly, as Aoife says. So just unlocking the power of nutrition for these women in the squeeze, which are, women with careers, women with jobs, aging parents, just as Aoife said, that was very much solving a problem for ourselves. We really wanted something that would make this whole stage of your life easier and elevate your health. I mean, that's where the name for, the product comes from, the elevator. It's raising all the systems in your body so that you can live better, live a better life, feel more energy.
Totally. And also, even for someone like me, right? Always into health and fitness, and have a real kind of like straight line of just like, get your shit together, no excuses. You want to get fit and healthy. You have to take responsibility for yourself. This is it. Now, I don't want to hear any like nonsense. You just do it. You have to just do it. And I was even finding, I haven't eaten breakfast yet and it's 12 o'clock.
I'm
absolutely grabbing some, I'm like, who have I become? But it was the job, the 4 kids. And I was like, you're starting to make excuses. So even for me, I can imagine like this works for me. But I also think that I think you just got the packaging right as well, because it's just like when you say, if you want to not eat treats and sweets and candy, like I swear to God, the Halloween candy is still looking at me in the face. And I'm still, I'm actually looking in it and being like, I don't like Reese's Pieces, but I might just have it because I've eaten all the nice stuff. I need to see the supplement in my face. And it's nice packaging. It actually goes quite well with my kitchen. And I think everybody's
the whole point.
So that was was that like a really conscious decision?
And it took us a long time. It's amazing how much there is to learn about packaging. Yes. Again, as an investment banker, I didn't know much about packaging before. So, it was a good 2 years of my life, I'd say, working, because you want to, we recognize if it's hidden away, you don't take it. You have to see it. So it had to be, and have that luxurious feel. It's like we're looking after ourselves, it's like your beautiful face cream that you buy and it's beautiful packaging and it's a lovely moment, when you use it. It's the same thing. We're looking after our health. It should be a nice routine in the morning. And so you leave it on your counter. It's lovely and you enjoy it, you know, and it's...
But there was quite a lot of thought as well in terms of not going ridiculous on the packaging, like, you know, kind of like a marble box, or, you know, kind of going crazy with a plinth, or because there are other brands out there that have gone crazy in terms of packaging and kind of royalty brands, and it's all like, you know, just wild in terms of the packaging. And we were like, hang on, there's the environment to think about. We don't want to make it so expensive that it's inaccessible. We put the money into, to be honest, the experts who we worked with for 3 years before we launched. And then we wanted elevated packaging again. You know, we wanted something that was nicer and like tactile, and that women would feel this is thoughtfully done. Just like everything else about this product, it's been really thoughtfully done for me. But we know we care about the environment. We care about recyclable packaging. You know, it's about being smart. You know, don't make it heavy and breakable and, you know, really expensive. Make it smart.
Yeah, and I ran out of the house the last day, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to take this with me. And I just took one little sachet, threw it in my bag, and I was like, I'm going to have that at 11, you know, in work. So it's also something... Like, you really have no excuses here, people. Like, you're going on a flight. This is going in your handbag. It's not something heavy, or you don't have to buy one of those, like my mom had, like these like vitamin boxes that are plastic, and you're putting everything in. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what am I going to take each day? It's 5 pills in each one. So one thing that I've noticed with Cisterly is just the community aspect, and some of your, like, I don't know if you call them brand ambassadors, but you've got like Sonia O'Sullivan. And how did all that start? Like, how did you start building your community? And is that what you're going for in terms of a marketing perspective? Like, because I know that there's a lot out there now in business, and it's like gone with the influencer and in with the community building. So how did that all come about?
It was really authentic, actually, and completely natural. So I was really into triathlons, still am, and trained in a gym in town where I met Annalise Murphy. And Annalise, you know, was an Olympic sailor, just the nicest person in the world. So even before we launched, I really wanted Annalise to try this because she's so into sport and into her fitness. And she has been on the product now, like almost the longest person, I'd say, who's been on Cisterly. Yeah, she was saying to me the other day that I think it's 13, 14 months she's been on Cisterly. She's 15 months, actually. And she posted about it, and she genuinely loves it, and had gone through like a COVID round and really felt the difference from it. The Coenzyme Q10, the B-Vits and all the rest of it. She loved it. Did a lovely organic post, you know, really just kind of authentically with her coffee. She makes beautiful coffees in the morning. Sonia O'Sullivan saw it and followed us. Can you imagine the excitement?
The excitement.
Sure, I saw
I grabbed my coffee the other day in Ballsbridge, and I swear everybody's heads turned and I was like, that's Sonia O'Sullivan. And now the funny thing is, I link her with Cisterly. When I see Sonia, I think of Cisterly.
I know. We love Sonia.
I know.
Which is amazing.
But like, it's so authentic. It's not that we sat around a dining room table saying, who are we going to connect with? And let's just approach them with a big deal. That's not what happened. So Sonia followed us and then started an Instagram DM kind of conversation. And she was looking for supplements for Sophie, you know, her daughter who's running in the States and, you know, competed in the Olympics. And I said to her, look, we're not Informed Sports approved yet, which we now are, which is very exciting.
You'll come back to that because I want to know what that means.
That's so exciting. So it means that like professional athletes can take our product now, even if they're going through drug testing, because it's now received certification. We knew it was all obviously perfect, but it now has the certification required that we can prove that if anything ever showed up in a drug test, it wouldn't be our product. So that's called Informed Sports Certified, which is massive for us. It's a real process
and
you have to go through.
And how do you have to go get that?
It's
another process.
That's
another podcast.
And that's a whole. But anyway, so we said to Sonia, hold.
Well, it's not Cisterly anyway. While you're
exactly. Exactly. So we said, hold on, Sophie, for the moment, because we knew the Olympics were coming up, but we'd love you to try this. And we sent her some products, and we kind of stayed away because we didn't want, like, who knows, maybe she wasn't going to like it. But after 3 weeks, a little tentative message went in the DMs going, hi, Sonia, just checking to see, what do you think? And this amazing message comes back going, oh my God, I think it's amazing. It's fantastic. I love it. Oh my God, we were so excited.
Couldn't believe it.
We were hopping around, and like the relationship is built from there, and she loves it. She's on the road constantly. She's flying all over the place, brings her sachets everywhere. And she sends us these really like amazing emails just going like, I count them out before I go and then I take a few extra. And it's, and then do you remember the mention in the podcast? Oh my God. So we were all just delighted that she was taking it. You know, there was no commitment to anything. Just we were so pleased to be fueling the likes of Sonia O'Sullivan. And then we get this message from a friend of ours who was out on a run going, oh my God, Sonia O'Sullivan has just mentioned you in the Irishman Abroad podcast with Jarlath Regan, where he does this episode with her all about running every month. And she had just said, oh, I've found this great Irish supplement called Cisterly. You know, it's more energizing than coffee. I know the quote off by heart at this stage.
I love it.
And we nearly fell off our chairs.
Isn't that feeling just so, it's just so
amazing.
exciting?
And that's the whole thing. It's all that, it's authentic, right? So we always said we're never going to pay anyone to say, you know, we give it to people, if they like it, they will talk about it. And that's what we want. And so when you have people like Sonia and all our other customers that come back with all their feedback and then they tell their friends about it, you know, it's all that the authenticity. It's like, who do you trust? You trust your friends, and that's how it's been spreading. Like, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I think you need a Misterly as well, because my husband needs.
We get asked a lot.
Yeah,
a
and
lot.
it's a kids early or something, because like the dads we're focusing on women, but like I know a lot of people, even when like they're trying to conceive and they're like, I want my partner to like take his vitamins and his zinc and his this and the men's sports and stuff. So that's maybe something down the line.
It's,
but
it's definitely going to be down the line. And the other area that we really want to lean into, because we know that there's a massive gap, we want to go through the process to make sure that women who are like pregnant, breastfeeding, postpartum. Well, postpartum's not a problem, obviously, and leading up to pregnancy, it's amazing. But in that area of pregnancy and breastfeeding, when women are so depleted, because all their nutrients are being sucked out of them, and you know, there is a process we want to go through to make sure that that is also an area that people can comfortably. At the moment we tell them, go talk to your gynae about it and they can make the decision, because again, the risk averse professionals that we are, we're just like, we can't take that on. But like, there's a process. We're really enthusiastic about just leaning into those gaps and spaces where women are a bit left behind. And, you know, there's a lot that we're looking at in terms of post-cancer treatment and the like. We're really into just plugging those gaps for women. They're out there because there hasn't been enough focus on female health at all.
At all. No. I think you guys have come at the perfect timing, because there's just so much. Like, I wouldn't say at all I'm a feminist in any sort of respect. I'm just like quite neutral. But the older I get, I'm kind of like, hold on a second here. Yeah. Like, why is you're a feminist?
I am. Yeah. I'm a feminist in terms of really wanting to advocate for issues that are being ignored. And I think that that's to the benefit of society in general. Like, it's not a them and us. It really is a case of, like, I think we are shocked by the stats in terms of female health and how it's been ignored. I mean, women were typically excluded from clinical trials up until 1993. There's 5 times more spend on erectile dysfunction, which affects 19% of men, than like menstrual issues, which affect 90% of women. 5 times less research and spend in terms of solving issues. There's a plethora of stats and facts that would just blow your mind. And, you know, I think I get really exercised by one at the moment about, you know, kind of rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune conditions. It's like, out of 5 people who suffer from an autoimmune condition, 4 of them will be women. And they think they've now figured out why, in that there's a unique molecule in our cell line called the exist molecule that they never knew about. And it's because there's an XX chromosome in women, XY chromosome in men. Woohoo, there's a difference, who knew? But there was only male cell lines in laboratories being used for testing and examination. They never used the female cell line. So they never even knew this molecule existed. And that, to me, and that only got discovered in July of last year in Stanford University. Like, that's mind-blowing. You know, this is really topical. And I think we all sit a little bit kind of back thinking it's all fine, everything's grand. And I think there's a big education piece about what's happening, you know, in maternity wards and what's happening in terms of female health and care. And, you know, I think it can all really be improved through advocacy and awareness.
And there's a lot starting now, which is great. you know. But there's such a huge journey ahead to kind of to get up to the level where we actually fully understand why, as Jenny said, in terms of the autoimmune conditions, we're also more women die from heart attacks than men. It's the number one killer, but you'd never think of that. More women are, out of three people who have Alzheimer's, 2 of them will be women. So again, there's a lot of work going on. Dr. Lisa Mosconi is a neuroscientist. If you come across her, she's amazing.
Yeah, the company I work for, Protheaners, we're looking at Alzheimer's. So we're a publicly listed US company looking at Alzheimer's, Parkinson's as well.
So she's doing amazing work looking at how the female brain changes. Why are we more prone to Alzheimer's? How does it change during menopause? And this is groundbreaking. No one's done this before. So it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah, I had on Dr. Sarah McKay from Australia. She's a neuroscientist in female brain health during pregnancy and post, and how our brain changes, during that pregnancy. And it was just fascinating. But like, again, that research, but also I think we need to speak up for ourselves. We need to remember that, like, we need to use our voice, and the time is kind of now,
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think probably as well, because we come from a corporate background, just the juggle of women in our generation. Like, I think that we all charged into the workplace because, our moms were left out and they all had this kind of marriage ban. And then they were really keen that we all get careers, and like, yay, that's great. And that is absolutely right. But our society has to adapt to figure out how to cope with the juggle of kids and career. Like, that has not been worked out. And I think women are really struggling and suffering as a result. And I think that that's why there's a real need for a female-specific, potent health supplement that's a one and done and out the door, because we're very time poor. So at least let's try and solve that problem for women so they can support themselves nutritionally. But there's so much more to be done. Like, just in terms of solving it collectively. It's not blaming anybody. It's just there's been a real evolution in our society. And women have charged into the workplace. They're contributing financially, but they've also been left with the load of looking after the home, looking after the kids, looking after the aging parents, and instinctively that's what we want to do as well. So it's, how do we do all of it? How do we manage our society to help women with what they instinctively want to do and what they would like to do, and do their careers and live a fulfilled life.
And recognize that we're different.
Yeah. Yes,
we
exactly.
menstruate.
Yes.
We get menopause.
We do.
And men don't get this stuff.
Yeah.
And I even say, back in the day when I was at a law firm, and the odd time I'd have the little cry at the desk and underneath the desk, and I'd be tired, I'd be crying. I'm like, why do the lads never cry in here? And I'm all like, tears. But like, we have menstrual cycles. Our hormones change. And it's actually something that I say to my husband as well. It's like, listen, like, the way you deal with women, it's different. We go through different cycles. So they might not feel overburdened in work, or the female might not feel in like a corporate law firm that the work is too much for her and she comes in, she's a bit more emotional. We also have hormones,
But think about it, Yvonne, like, when people are, like, let's say in their legal careers at the time and age of their lives, they may be trying to get pregnant. They may be going through IVF. They may be suffering from miscarriages. They may then be pregnant, then they've postpartum, then, going into perimenopause and menopause. So, like, there are life stages going on with the juggle of career and home life. It is so much. And I think that the reality is it's all just meant to happen seamlessly, and nobody's meant to talk about it and recognise all of these life stages that are going on. And like, it's not just even just having kids. It's, you may not be having kids, or you might be trying to do it on your own. Like, there's so much there that is ignored.
Yeah. I flew to California in, 2017 or something. I was going to a board meeting. It's the end of the day, end of the board meeting, went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, I'm having a miscarriage for sure. Now, I didn't have a huge bleed or anything, but I just knew. Bleeding. So then I was in San Francisco, flew myself down to LA so I could be with my sister, went into the, it was just totally chaotic. And I get this a lot now because I had the 3 miscarriages, and then I had a loss at 5.5 months. I have so many women, and now I have 4, as you know. So like, you know, it's a good news end story. But like you said, your personal and professional life run in parallel. And I have so many women, even in law firms, because that's obviously my area. It's not investment banking, but say go law firms, and they're like, I'm going through IVF, but there's a drinks evening, and I'm trying to hide the fact that I don't want to drink, and I'm trying to take time off, and I'm actually trying to go for partner, but I'm trying to get pregnant, and I don't know, should I bother? And the stress
It's
and
so
the
hard to
pressure.
juggle. It really is, yeah. And when I worked in investment banking in London, you know, there were very few women at the top. You know, there was lots coming in, you know, the graduate level, but it just got so slim because the hours, you know, the same as, I mean, corporate lawyers and M&A lawyers, I thought they even worked more than us, you know. So it's really, really hard if you want to start a family and the support's just not there. And actually, when we were developing Cisterly, we asked women, hundreds of women, like, what is the number one? What do you need the most? And the answer wasn't like beauty or anything. It was energy, because everyone is just so tired with everything that's going on. They're like, can you just give me more energy? And that's what we kind of focused on. So, you know, the energy is a big booster. You know, it's a big benefit of taking Cisterly, but everyone's just knackered.
Yeah. They need a box, the corporates, they need a box of Cisterly on their desks.
There we go.
Absolutely.
You know?
We know that they do. Like, we've got amazing women in the corporate world. Like, you know, Anne O'Leary and Meta is a huge fan of Cisterly. She does all her triathlons and cycling and swimming. She's on the go constantly, and she is constantly shaking her sachets. And Viv Paxonos, who's the CEO of Albright, is a huge fan. And, you know, these real doers, you know, and that's kind of, I suppose, but to be honest, all women, no matter what they're doing, are doing a lot. I mean, I think women generally are doers. But I do feel just talking about women in corporate settings and work settings and all of that, I know actually they are doing quite a lot of Meta to support women who are trying to have kids and going through those cycles and being very kind of open and positive about it and going like, this is good for society. Like, what are we trying to do? Like, do we want there to be no more babies? Like, what's the plan here, people? You know, this is super important for all of us. And happy women at home leads for happy family life. So happier kids, happier husbands, happier everybody. So being a feminist to me is we should all be feminists and figure this out for women.
And actually the first ingredients I think I saw in your packaging, or I don't know if it's the first one, but it stood out a mile to me, was the Coenzyme Q10. And that's because I literally took buckets of it when I was trying to get pregnant. Like, I was getting pregnant easily, but I was miscarrying. But I was recommended to take this supplement because it's good for egg quality. So is it good for other stuff as well?
Coenzyme Q10 is
I do not want any more kids, folks. Like, just so you know, I'm not taking Cisterly but
you got to clarify that.
Yeah.
You never know.
No. The tubes are there'll be some sort of negligence going on if I get pregnant again, because my tubes are tied. There is no fifth child coming into my house. Four is well. Four is enough. Yeah. I have got enough.
So coenzyme Q10 is something we actually make in our bodies. So it's involved in cellular metabolism. But our stores of coenzyme Q10 basically are at their highest at the age of 20. And then by the time we're 40 years old, our stores have halved. And then they continually decline after that, which is kind of depressing, you know. So, and it affects our energy levels because it helps us make energy. So by actually supplementing with coenzyme Q10, it's very good for fertility, but it's really good for energy, particularly when combined with B12 as well. So that is something you can that's probably the first benefit most people will tend to see. So even within a couple of weeks, you tend to feel that kind of the boost of the coenzyme Q10. And you just have more energy throughout the day. So we do say take it in the morning. And people, you know, they report back that afternoon slump around 3 o'clock where you normally need a bit of chocolate, a cup of tea, that tends to disappear for a lot of people. And it's mainly down to coenzyme Q10.
Yeah, I'm having a real aha moment here because I have been saying, like, during this year, I'm like, I'm so lethargic. I've just been blaming it on like work, busy. But since I've been taking Cisterly, I'm like, I actually feel pretty good. Like, I worked out 4 times already this week, which is pretty good going.
That's the key, right? So that's what we've noticed, is that to have the energy to do the bits and pieces that will actually make you feel better. When you're too exhausted to get out of bed and exercise, like, I mean, we've never been busier, but like we're getting our exercise in. I was out running this morning. You'd be very proud of me. But it's, you know, it is actually having the energy to do the bits and pieces that will make you feel better. And this works. Like this, we put Coenzyme Q10 in there because it is researched to death. It is the best thing for energy. Everybody should be taking it. There was a big decision around it is an expensive nutrient, and we knew that, but we decided we weren't going to compromise in the dose. There's 150 mgs, and we really have fired it up through the inclusion of piperine, which is black pepper extract, which improves the bioavailability of the Coenzyme Q10, making it even more effective. And it is phenomenal. We describe the nutrients in Cisterly like your capsule collection, you know, in your wardrobe. It's the capsule. It's like literally the great pair of trousers. Like, it's like the row. It's, you know, it's the best of everything in terms of the essentials. But the Coenzyme Q10 is like your designer handbag. It's expensive, but it's worth it. And it really is the thing that is the kicker for energy. It is amazing. And it is like the fertility piece is it's amazing as well.
And I think if people look, like if they just go on the website and they look at the product and they're like, oh, it depends on if your subscription or not, they're like, wow, this is a bit expensive. Listen, it's $3.55 a day for a flat white. It's $3.05, and a flat white isn't going to give you the energy.
I just paid €4 for my flat white this morning, by the way. So it's even better value now.
So it's even better value.
But why less than €3 a day for a sachet? Because we've done a recyclable refill. So we do an envelope as your refill on subscription. So we passed on that saving to the customer. So when you subscribe now, it's less than €3 a day.
Wow. Like, and you have to look at it like that. And we have to put our health, like if you're not paying for your health now, you're going to pay for your illness later.
Exactly. And when you think about how much we spend on our nails, on our hair, you know, but actually you have to look after what's on the inside, because that affects your outside as well, you know. So you want stronger nails, you want glowing skin, you know, then you have to nourish your body properly as well. So it makes such a difference. But aside from like less than the price of a cup of coffee, but also if you look at what you tend to spend on supplements, your 8 capsules or whatever, all the jars you buy, like we went into the pharmacy to try and kind of replicate what's in Cisterly. I think it was well over €200. Yeah. And, you know, there's some double up. You kind of even trying to allow for that. There was something like 10 bottles that we actually bought. And when you compare the price to that, it makes total sense.
I'm not joking. I have bottles of stuff around the house, and I've taken maybe 2 or 3 from some of them, particular brand, bought loads of them. And I'm like, I'm just going to go home and dump them now, because honestly, they go off as well. So like
the big clear out of the graveyard.
Clear out, and like get them out of my way. It is such a waste. But anyway, the other one I saw recently was Trini. Trini herself. How did that happen?
So I've gone from being a barrister to professional stalker.
She's a very good stalker, I must say. Very good barrister, very good stalker.
Persistence.
Just give in. It's easier. It's going to be easier for you.
You sound like me, because it's the persistence. Like, I'm not actually going to give up. I'm going to be annoying. Eventually, like if you're really tell me to, like, ghosting me, I might be like, okay, but you'll be sorry. I'm telling you, you'll be sorry.
I know most people don't have the energy to say no, so all you do is you just keep coming back. Hi. So that was thanks to wonderful women. That's how these things always work. The amazing women in Brown Thomas were the key to meeting Trini, and that's Caroline Hanratty and Michelle Curtin and all these fabulous women who have been so supportive of us since we started. And they introduced, when she came to Dublin to her event in Brown Thomas, they just made sure that we got to say hi, and then we gifted all her fab team and this wonderful lady called Dido who's on her team. And they just made it happen by just, emailing them regularly going, hi, we're still here. Any chance of meeting up with Trini to doing the elevator pitch? And again, great women supporting women. That's how these things happen.
And did you find that actually did amplify the brand, or there was more sales, or like, was there an actual correlation between sales and that happening?
Yeah, the best sales we've ever had.
Really?
Happened on the days around Trini.
And people orders coming in from the States. Australia. She's a huge
All over,
following
all
in the
over.
States. Amazing.
Does she?
Yeah, because she launched in New York, so they would have done a lot of work there, and it must have obviously come up from her recent followers in the States.
She's
all
so
got-
popular, like, yeah.
Yeah, she's just wonderful to do it as well. Like, what a great initiative supporting female founders. Like, that's great.
amazing.
Like, what a great way to use
And
her
didn't she?
platform.
Was it her or was it somebody else that was like, I didn't start my business till some age? I can't
That's her?
remember.
That's
Was it
her.
What age was
Yeah.
that? Did she say
Was she in her-
53 or something like that?
Something in her 50s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's phenomenal what she's
And
doing.
I think a lot of people, let's remember, for those that are listening, you can change your career, you can pivot, you can follow your dreams, and it doesn't matter what age you are.
Doesn't matter. So at the time of starting Cisterly, I was actually living in Madrid, and I went in the business school there. I know he's like the professor, head of startups and scale ups, and I went to talk to him, and I said, "Am I mad doing this?" You know, because I was kind of, you know, mid-40s, coming to late 40s, and he's like, "Aoife, we love women like you." Because you have the experience, you have the corporate experience. So that's huge. As you said earlier, there's so many skills that are transferable, and you've been through loads of stuff. You know what you want, so you're just going to go and do it. So we're super efficient, we're driven, we're not going to give up the corporate world, you know, and what we've had, unless we know we've onto a winner. And he said, look, we want to see more people like you. And that just gives you great confidence, you know. And then the success stories, you know, there's so many startups, but generally the ones who are founded by slightly more, you know, the older, more experienced person tend to be more successful.
Yeah. Do you think that we get to an age as well when we've had like our kids, our careers, and there comes a point like we hit 40, 41, and we're like, hold on, what am I doing with my life? What's actually important to me? What brings me joy? Do I want to work all these hours? Maybe for myself, yeah. But I think there's just this kind of, like I heard someone say, it's not a midlife crisis, it's a midlife reevaluation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, totally for me anyway, that's how I felt. And, you know, we started this during COVID. And COVID actually, you know, gave us kind of the time to sit back and look at other things and suddenly think, you know, and a lot of new businesses and new ideas come up in times of difficulty or change or trauma. But I know after working for many, many years in the corporate world, I just really wanted to do something for myself. And also that my kids be really proud of me, you know, that I've done something, not just earned good money and had a good life, you know, but something that you feel really fulfilled and they're super proud. So, and I think this is just phenomenal because, look, we're probably working even harder than we've ever worked before. But it's making women feel better. It's really fulfilling. And the community aspect of it, it just fills us with joy like it is. It's phenomenal. We love it. And my daughter is obsessed.
How old is your daughter?
She's 11. I have 3
great
kids, but she's my youngest. And she's like, Mom, I'm going to take over Cisterly. Sorry, Jenny. I better tell you that.
You know, I love that. I think it's amazing for moms as well to show our kids what we can do. My son is 6. He's the eldest. And on a Friday, I could be wearing my Paws Penny, my branded sweater. And he's like, are you going to work in positive today? Like about positive stuff. And I heard him say the other day, he was talking about something. I was like, well, Mom, you know, if you believe you can, you can. But if you believe you can't, you can't. And I was like, you know, we had a parent-teacher meeting yesterday and she was talking about, he's very positive, very into his affirmations. And I was like, that's me. And then when she talked about the math kind of side, the strong, like, you know, like let's say book smart side, I was like, that's my husband right there. But me, I'm on the creative. And I think it's great to be able to show the kids this as working women, you know, that you can follow your dream. I think, did you have fear though was there a bit of like, oh God, I'm leaving a career, I'm getting a paycheck. It's not easy when you've got, like, how many years were we in college? Like or school, college, study, grind, work. And then you're like, I'm actually earning quite well now. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to set up this community and fulfill my side dream. Like, it's scary, isn't it?
Do you know, it's funny though, I think that this point of like in your midlife, you do reevaluate what's important to you. And I think probably, like, I've wondered about that. Like, if we'd started sooner, would that have been made more sense? But I don't think so, actually. Personally, anyway, I feel that you kind of almost need to tick the box of, okay, so now I'm done the big job and I've earned loads of money and that I can continue that. But is that what's really important to me? And everybody's different. Everybody, I think, does have different values. And I think you have to think about what are your values, what really matters to you. And yes, there's great security in the big checks coming in and, you know, doing a good job and all of that. And that does feel like, you know, proud of myself. Now, that's great. But there's probably other, like, depending on how you feel about the world, and, you know, you're only here for so long, and that's probably kind of midlife makes you wake up to that. It's kind of like, okay, I've got another maybe couple of decades in me, but that's it, you know, in terms of work. And it's kind of like, so how do you want to spend that? And that's going to be just a real internal, like, nudge. You just know yourself what really matters to you. And then you have to kind of listen to that, because it'll keep annoying you if you don't.
I totally agree. I think that deep down we all know. We all know what we want to do. We're getting the whispers. Come on. And I feel like if you don't do it, you're going to continue to get those whispers, or you're going to be knocked off your feet by some sort of crisis in your life, whether it's a health challenge or a challenge with your kids or even made redundant. And you're going to just wake up and be like, that's it. It's time.
I used to always think about the rocking chair in the nursing home. So this idea of, like, when you get to the end, you know, and you're sitting there going a bit gaga, you know, how would you look back on it? And that, like, I don't know who said that to me at some stage when I was really young, but I constantly would kind of think about the rocking chair moment. And definitely I was very aware that if I spent all of the rest of my life just doing what I was doing, I might regret it, because there were parts of the job, very long hours and all the rest of it, there was parts of it that weren't speaking to how I wanted to spend my time. If I was going to be away from my family and I was going to be sacrificing, you know, my sport and all those kind of things, was it meaningful enough for all the sacrifices for what you were doing? And I definitely felt the rocking chair moment was kind of speaking to me, going, no, there's another chapter in you. Come on now. What's it going to be?
Yeah. Like, there's a chapter in that book. This is not the whole story. And we can always pivot and we can always change, but there's that fear of, there's the fear of being judged. Like, I don't know, did either of you get it? Like, why? Like, you're a lawyer. You're an investment banker. Go on, tell us the story. I have some crazy ones.
It was really funny. So at the early stages, we do a lot of tastings, right? And, you know, we're barely out the door. Like, you know, there's myself and Eva and Louise, like, that's it. And so there was, at one point I was doing a tasting in a pharmacy, and it was all like, you know, kind of, you know, really like, you know, in the supermarket where you've got people setting up doing their tastings, but like a tiny little table, and I'm there doing my tasting. And it was really funny. A partner in a very prestigious firm comes in just to get his bits and pieces. And I'm standing there, and, you know, it was very soon after I'd left the law library. So the last time you would have seen me, it would have been in court with all the gear, and, you know, you're up there and you've taken silk and it's all about it. And the next thing, you're mixing your little sachets, you know, and your little table, and you're like, hello. And I could see him watch this scene, and, like, he was shocked, stunned, and just like, oh dear God.
Poor Jenny. What's
Poor you.
Did she get kicked out of the
Wow. This must be really serious.
And it was really interesting. And I just thought, I'm delighted. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And I know you don't get it. I know this to you looks like an absolute abject failure in life. And to me, it makes complete sense. And that's the joy of it. Like, we're all different. And what we want to do is different. And there is no point in cutting and pasting success and saying that success to everybody looks the same. It just doesn't. And for some people, like, and I get it, like, there's just different versions of what success looks like. So figure out your own. Like, to me, standing there mixing my thing and chatting to people and, like, this is amazing, you know, I can't wait till you try it. That felt like success to me. And that's okay, you know?
I absolutely love that story. I can just imagine, like, and I get it too, you know, like I'm going into corporate speaking, you know, about manifestation, and they're just like, what in the name of God is this one talking about? Manifesting. I'm like, it's taking action. For the love of God, it's just a word, you know?
Yeah, I know.
But you have to be, you know, we're in careers like investment banker, lawyer, barrister. It's very like professional, formal. Like you can tell a lawyer by the way they dressed walking down the street. You're like, there, that person's a lawyer for sure. 100%. I know it. You know, like and when you go outside that box, you actually start thinking, oh God, I wonder what they're thinking. But then you just have to say, who gives a shit?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what you're doing, right? You know what you want to do, and you've got a reason for doing it. And who cares? Who cares what other people think? But it is hard. That is hard, though, to have that attitude, I think.
But it's funny, I think when you have a title of like, you know, investment banker or barrister or, you know, solicitor or whatever you're doing, you kind of have a safety blanket to hide behind. And you're kind of like, oh, well, I have this, which means X, Y, and Z. And but I had a great friend who I traveled a lot with in the States when I was kind of like on my big, long summer junkets. And she had been an investment banker and then had, you know, done incredibly well and then basically traveled. And when we would meet people in the States, they'd say, so what do you do? And I'd be like, well, I'm a barrister. That's an attorney. I used to practice. And she would say, I'm unemployed. And like just shrug her shoulders and say, like, I'm unemployed. And I used to love that because she just had rejected the need to explain herself to people or to get a jump start in terms of their opinion on her. And I'd always admired that in her, in the way she'd described herself. So it's actually really good for us to shake off those things, you know?
And the opposite to that is we moved home from England to Ireland and I was on maternity leave. So I left my job. So I was just then, I suppose I was unemployed, but with a baby. And I went in to sign up to get my mobile phone or something. And they were like, you have to fill out this form. You know, what's your job? And I was like, and I told this poor guy behind the counter who was probably, he didn't give a I was like, well, I was working in London and then I came home and now I see, and he's like, I don't care. But I felt I had to justify myself. Now, I've gotten over that. Now, that was like, my eldest child is now 16, but I was like, this poor kid. He's like, just leave me alone. It doesn't matter.
See, we identify with our titles, you know, and I actually...
At the time, I really did.
I did as well. And then I got a book called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. It's an amazing book. And he talked about this kind of having this attachment to the title. And I remember saying to my husband, who like is a partner in a law firm, and he would just be like, never mention his career, never mention what his job title was, ever, ever, ever. Like, and I would meet people and I would be like, I'm a lawyer. And I remember saying, okay, I'm going to go out tonight and like, just not ever say that I'm a lawyer. And I was actually so proud of myself. It's like, because I was clearly identifying with that as if like you're going to be more respected because you're a lawyer, you know? And I just think, who cares? Yeah. You know? Yeah. That's a you problem if you have to go out and tell well, it was a me problem, you know, that I had to tell people. But I guess I came from a family like where, you know, I was kind of one of the first to go into college and get up that career ladder that I was like, I'm a lawyer, you know? I used to go home to Kerry and my granddad would say, the solicitor is coming. And then I'd come in the door and he'd say, crooks, you're all crooks. The lot of you're all crooks. And I'd always laugh. So I think, yeah, taking that jump. So Cisterly, final question, where to next?
Wow.
What's the goal? What's the vision? What are you manifesting for the business?
I think we really want to conquer the UK initially. So, you know, there's been great awareness here in Ireland. Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. And we just want to get it out to the rest of the world now. Like, you know, there's a need. We know it's great. We know it works. And isn't it? It's kind of like just
we just want to spread it out. Yeah. And get more people. The whole idea of being Cisterly is, you know, if you're sisterly, you tell your sister, you tell your friends, your loved ones about, you know, what's working for you. You give, you know, and just spread the word. You know, if people like it and feel the benefits, tell others about it. You know, so it's about just Yeah, going global.
Going global. I think it's an amazing brand. I think from everything, from the ingredients, from the packaging, I just think it's amazing, and the community that you're building.
Yeah, it's so special, and we love all the women we've met along the way. It's just amazing. Whether it's a sea swim or a run or a yoga event or
even yourself,
it's
Yvonne.
just-
Do you know what I mean?
No, I know, and it's just it's like, oh my God, these women, everyone is just so lovely, and people come along and they all get on so well. You do your movement. There's always a bit of movement involved, and then we talk, and it's just you come away with this wonderful feeling of support, and everyone's in it together, and it's just wonderful. We absolutely love it.
Yeah. So no regrets.
Definitely not.
Absolutely not. None.
That's it, guys. Quit your jobs. Follow your dreams and do it.
Really hard.
It's really hard. Just be warned. And remember,
Yes.
Jenny had
more
a
writing
lawyer
in
staring at her, stirring some Cisterly in a pharmacy. So, like, come on. And she was delighted with herself. She was delighted with herself, and that had to have been hard. That I can imagine that being hard looking in from the outside. But you're just like, hey, I'm living my best life. You're going back to the office to work till 2 a.m.
No.
See ya.
No, he was living his best life too. It's just we're all different. That's the point. We're all made differently.
We're all made differently. Yeah. And follow that passion.
Yeah.
Follow that passion.
Yeah,
And you too could be in a pharmacy.
But when's the next event? Like 2025 events. Have you guys
There's
planned
two things
out?
actually, Yvonne. There was two things, just picking up from what Aoife was saying there in terms of community. There's a load of ideas percolating, but there's one thing in particular. We feel that just as we were talking about organic growth, we really want the women who've experienced the benefits of Cisterly to be our advocates in a very kind of real and authentic way. So most of us don't want to be influencers, and that's not what we do. But we're really trying to find women who genuinely have felt the benefits of Cisterly to come approach us through the back end of direct messages and things like that, because we would love them to partner with them in a charity of their choice. So that, let's say you wanted to host a little Cisterly brunch in your home, we would send you sachets. You would nominate maybe the school, like Star of the Sea or something like that, and a percentage of the proceeds of anything that's bought through your Star of the Sea code would go to Star of the Sea. So it makes it, we know what would work for us in terms of spreading the word, and we kind of feel we understand like what would work for us in terms of being like feeling good about buying something, and also feeling, okay, that person is really feeling the benefits. She said this is good. I trust her. So again, it's just if there's people who are interested in doing that with us because they genuinely have felt the benefits, we'd love to find ways of working with those people so that something that means something to them benefits as well. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we're experimenting with this.
So I'm one of those people.
Yeah,
so
so
there we
great,
go.
so great. And
My
the
next-
Star of the
my
Sea
next-
lunch is coming up soon. I
Oh,
want
you're going to
talk-
that?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'll see you
But
next Friday.
again, it's just about, so that's a kind of, in light of your manifesting thing, it's kind of like that really speaks strongly to us at the moment. So we'd love to hear from people if they would like to work with us on that basis. If they know Cisterly, they love Cisterly, and they've taken it and they've felt the benefits, we think that would be a really nice one. Yeah. And we're doing a big dance event on the 13th of December with Jane Shorthall. We're learning the perfect couple dance. Do you remember that series with Nicole Kidman and Eve Hewson on Netflix? Okay, the opening credits of The Perfect Couple has this amazing dance, and we want to learn that with Jane Shorthall. So we're doing that for Christmas on the 13th of December in a dance studio on Camden Street. So I think there's a handful of tickets still available for that. So if anybody wants to
I
come
would
and
love
join
to go
us.
to that, but I'm in LinkedIn that day, I think. But another one.
Another one.
Another
Yeah,
one,
there'll
for
be plenty.
sure.
Yeah.
And get me out to sea swim. Oh my God,
The
I have
bare
an ice bath.
epic.
You could come down to the house. I have an ice bath in my garden.
Well, the 40-foot, there's a nice ice bath there as well.
we live like 300 meters apart, and I've never seen Jenny ever until I asked her on the podcast, and I
way.
bumped her. I was like, "Is that your one from Cisterly?" I think it is. Imagine
She's looking a bit rough.
Well, you're going to see her every day now.
I
Every
know.
day walking
I know.
the
She's like,
dog
"Oh,
and
would you
standing
go?"
with.
Wait.
Yeah.
And the 5th, I don't know what the timing of this podcast airing, but we're doing our next sea swim on the 5th of January, and we basically do them every month.
Every month, yeah.
With the amazing Joe from
Yeah,
Cocoa
with
Brew.
lovely coffee
Yeah.
and treats after. So it's
I
great.
love that. Yeah.
Joe is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.